Threatening serious consequences, Tehran warning the U.S. against interference after an Iranian tanker that was seized by the British Royal Marines in July was released from detention off Gibraltar and is now heading towards Greece. Joining us now is Peter Brookes from the Heritage Foundation. He is also a former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense. Thank you for joining us. A lot of people had speculated that we wouldn't see this tanker released until the UK's tanker was released, that the Iranians were holding on to, that it would be a simultaneous thing. That appears to not be the case, right? I mean, the UK's tanker is still in custody. What do you make of this?
I was one of those. I thought it would be a simultaneous release. It didn't happen that way. But I understand from official reports or news reports that the Brits do have assurances from the Iranians that their tanker will be released, and I expect that will happen in short order. It may have been part of the agreement that it would be one and then the other. So this is, in this sense, we'll have to see what happens over the coming days, Melissa, and whether the Iranians do meet their part of the bargain.
Yeah, I mean, you have to wonder why the deal was struck this way. It seems to the naked eye like it would make the Iranians look like they were in a stronger position, or maybe that's what it's designed to look like, and that's not the actual case, so that's the signal they want to send. I mean, how do you read into that?
Well, Iran is very weak, as you know, Melissa, because of the economic challenges they face, the maximum pressure campaign of the United States against them, being an authoritarian government, the internal pressures that they face. So I think that they want to do this. It probably was very, very important for them, for their domestic audience. The international audience, I think, will see it for what it is as long as the British tanker is released. But I think it was for their domestic audience to look strong internationally in the face of their own internal weaknesses.
Have things calmed down in the Strait of Hormuz? We haven't heard as much about it. Have we just gotten distracted, or is it calmer?
I think we've probably been distracted. There's still a lot of tension. There's always a possibility of a crisis. I think there's a lot of things going on there with lots of ships and aircraft in the air that could lead to a crisis at any time. Iran may be reevaluating their strategy. We've had a lot of provocative actions. They attacked 6 tankers, they seized 3, they shot down an American drone. There was a lot of tensions going on there. Perhaps they're reevaluating their situation, although the Iranians came out today and said there's no way they're going to negotiate with the United States unless it's on negotiating going back to the 2015 Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action or the Iran nuclear deal.
So while you're here, I want to ask you about the mystery around the explosion in Russia. It is deepening as at least 4 nuclear monitoring stations specifically designed to detect radiation have gone silent. And that leaves a lot of us wondering, have they been turned off so that they aren't reporting radiation, or did they sizzle because of the radiation itself? What do you think?
I think we're looking at radioactive silence, or radio silence, as you said in the lead up to this. I think the Russians are very concerned about this. This is a nuclear-powered cruise missile, a very bad idea for a weapons program because it would release radioactivity over anybody it flew over. This is the second time this weapon system has failed. They're worried about radioactive release. There hasn't been much reporting of this, although I did hear about a Norwegian station talking about it. Nobody likes radioactivity. It'll ruin your day, certainly. People are reminded of 1986 in Chernobyl. And for this regime, I mean, it's very difficult for them because they also lost a submarine last month. If you remember, we may not have talked a lot about it here on the air, but they lost one. So for an authoritarian regime to look like it's not able to maintain its military program and its military prowess, that's a PR disaster.
Meanwhile, there is a plume moving across Russia that we'll keep an eye on as well. Peter Brookes, thank you as always. Good stuff.
Thank you, Melissa.
Appreciate it.